Hey all, Merry Christmas. Today I want to leave you with a movie that changed my life, and hopefully, if you haven't seen it, you'll go watch it too, as sort of a Christmas miracle kind of movie, just for you. Alex Rust circled the globe trying to make good on some advice he got from his father. His circumnavigation resulted in the movie I want to talk to you about today, Chasing Bubbles, a YouTube documentary viewed almost 3 million times right now. Alex Rust's father was an American egg tycoon, that's right, eggs, David Rust, and when he lay on his deathbed, one of his 13 children asked him what he should do with his life. Whatever you want to do most, was the 78-year-old man's reply. Young, messy-haired Alex Rust was perplexed with the advice. He had expected some tangible thing that his dad would say, a doctrine maybe, or a code of practice. After all, his father had guided him through most of his young life, up at dawn, fixing the fences on the large family home in Indiana, or making breakfast and doing chores. Joe Rust, Alex's little brother, said, Dad saw a lot of potential in Alex, but he knew he had a rebellious side, so he pushed him very, very hard, both physically and intellectually. At just 20 years old, Alex still had the open road ahead of him, but with Dad dying, there was no one left to guide him. Alex was all fueled up for a huge life, but now he had no direction. David Rust, Dad, the egg farmer, had 2 litters of kids, as little brother Joe puts it. The initial 7 with his first wife, the next 6 of which Alex was the second born with his second wife, Sylvia. With the first litter of kids, Dad was younger and still building his egg empire. Dad spent a lot more time with the second litter. As he was older and more accomplished, he had more free time to give the kids. He wanted to develop our full potential, Alex would say. He was a big achiever and maximized his time on Earth. He motivated all of his children, stressing the importance of a job and responsibility and respect. And he didn't like us watching too much TV. Funny, because of what Alex would go on to become famous for. Dad traveled the world too, garnering advice from top poulterers to ensure only the very best eggs ended up on the American breakfast table. He realized how beneficial it was for youngsters to experience different cultures and distant places, so he took his family on extended journeys. And Dad was unique in that he would never fly anywhere. He was a great believer in the journey being more important than the destination. David drove his family in their van filled with kids from Indiana to Mexico City and up to Alaska and the Arctic Circle. And when the rebellious side of Alex started rearing its head, he had police arrests for motor vehicle offenses, pranks toward his teachers that he didn't like, going AWOL occasionally. David sent him to Brazil to stay with his half-brother. Dad knew he needed a change of environment. 4 years after his father's death, Alex was working as a financial trader in the Chicago stock market when he had an epiphany. Life was all about the journey, just as his dad had said, both physically and spiritually. He would buy a boat. Do you guys remember when you had the epiphany to buy a boat? Alex took it about as far as you can take it. He bought a 27-foot Hunter sloop, Wild Sea Monkey she was called, for $3,000 in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and bought the book Sailing For Dummies. He got a rope around the prop immediately. He watched his crew being seasick and he ran aground 9 times trying to leave port, but he finally made it to Bimini and the hook was set. We didn't have any maps, said Alex's girlfriend Vanessa. Nonetheless, she stayed with him throughout the hard learning curve of the Caribbean islands and the Venezuelan coastline before finally jumping ship and flying home to Chicago. Alex sold the boat in Caraco, but the seed was already sown. Alex had seamanship learned the hard way from his forays with the Wild Sea Monkey. Alex was horrified to discover that most of the boats he looked at for his second boat were offered by fast-talking brokers and had live-aboard comforts like air conditioning and microwaves and even carpets, but despite these luxuries, were not designed and built to cross the ocean. He needed something a little more robust. The William Garden-designed Fast Passage 39 was a proven ocean yacht. She was one of only 10 boats to complete the inaugural Round the World BOC Challenge race in 1983. Alex bought one, Bubbles it was called, for $70,000 and sailed the cutter-rigged sloop from Tortola to St. Thomas in the BVI's. And it was from there in October 2009, from Nanny Key, that Alex set off for his global cruise. Friends, acquaintances, and his new girlfriend Molly Smith joined him for various legs of the 3-year voyage. This took him from Nanny Key through the Panama Canal, across the Pacific and Indian Oceans, around the Cape of Good Hope, and up the South Atlantic back to Nanny Key, via many stops on the South American continent. Joe claimed this was a record-breaking excursion up the Amazon. I'm pretty sure no yacht has ever been further up. The wild side of Alex is evident in this documentary, Chasing Bubbles. As his confidence as an ocean sailor grew, so too did his devil-may-care attitude and his childish sense of being a pirate. Viewers are treated with a ton of scenes of tombstoning off uncharted headlands, swimming with tropical jellyfish, hand-feeding sharks, dancing around live volcanic lava streams, playing with snakes, and of course leaping from the spreaders. Little brother Joe joins the boat in French Polynesia, and for a few magical months sailing with his brother, they arrive in Fiji. He was always a risk taker from a young age, said Joe, but it was a weakness too. He thought he was invincible and he got a rush from surviving it all. In some sense, he enjoyed the fanfare. One crewman is almost lost overboard. Life jackets and harnesses are rarely, if ever, donned. Another narrowly escapes being decapitated during the night by an unshipped whisker pole. There are questionable moments below as well. One crewman reports on the film, "It was like being in an extended party." All of this adds to Alex's mischievous image as sort of being a latter-day Captain Morgan. The cheeky, broad face, the stocky build, the shock of blonde hair, the unkempt beard, the jokey seaside captain's hat. But then Alex is brought down to earth, an 8-day drift in the doldrums, which sees him yelling at clouds for hanging around the horizon and blaming it all on bubbles instead of moving inshore and finding wind. The sunsets during those calm days bring back the directional stability, the overpowering sense of his father. Alex, beer in hand in another scene, rubbing his head, tries to talk about Dad, the dad that he worships, but he can't. His head drops and he tears up. By December 2012, the voyage is over. There's a wonderful scene of the boat being back at the dock for the first time and everybody coming to sign their names on it. The journey has ended, and still Alex was uncertain about what he's supposed to do with his life. Maybe I was running from responsibility or trying to do something great. Never mind the destination, it's back to the journey. In April 2013, he visits the Dalai Lama, exiled in India. By May, he's moved on to India's spiritual capital, Varanasi. This movie is a whirlwind of emotions and adventures. I genuinely laughed and cried and felt a whole range of emotions every time I watch it. Chasing Bubbles is genuinely like a rite of passage for any would-be world-traveling sailor to watch. I'll leave you with this. If you haven't seen Chasing Bubbles, you should go watch it. I'm going to watch it again over Christmas because I still watch it once every couple years. There's something so magical about this movie, and I wanted us to share that. As the year comes to a close, I'd like to thank you for watching. This has truly been the most successful year for Lady K Sailing, with more subscribers and more views than I'd ever imagined. More comments and more contact with you guys and shared love in the community. This is the first year of the channel I've been stone cold sober, 1 year and 7 months now. The first year of Lady K's new paint, new colors. The first year I've been building Charlie the truck. The first year I've had a Hobie cat, worked for Practical Sailor, and been one of the best years of my life. I'm so happy that we get to do this together, to get more people sailing more easily. We've reached so many people this year. I get so many emails of people saying, I finally bought a boat because of one of your videos, or you helped give me the push I needed. It's not life-changing stuff, but it's nice to see that we played a role in somebody else's adventure. And I'd like to thank the Patreon team who give a couple of bucks an episode to really make this possible. Without that help, I'd have to have a normal job and I wouldn't be able to do this stuff. I don't make very much from this channel, but it's enough to pay my bills and keep tires on my 25-year-old truck and buy the occasional little sailboat that I genuinely do use to teach other grown-up children how to sail. I'm truly blessed to be able to do this, so thank you for being here with me. So Merry Christmas, go watch Chasing Bubbles, and I love you guys. Until next time, keep the heavy side down, but not too far down. We'll see you guys.